Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's Level-Headed Weekly Update. So we're going to add some market perspective, as we always do. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the markets. We're going to talk about what's going on with coronavirus. We're going to introduce you to the newest member of our team. I want to apologize if you can hear the somebody, one of the neighbors or somebody across the way is using, it sounds like a weed eater. So we've got that playing in the background. You may hear that. Hopefully you don't hear it too bad, but we're not going to let that distract us from what's important. So let's jump right in. Let's start talking a little bit. Oh, I need to hit a couple highlights before we get going. A couple things to make note of. Number one is if you have questions, there's a couple different ways that you can ask questions. I have a way to view who the attendees are. So if you have questions, you can raise your hand. I can unmute you. You can ask them that way. You can send questions to us. Let's see here. You can send questions to us. Just send it to info@DispenetWMG for wealthmanagementgroup.com. Nicole will print off those questions and bring them over, and we'll answer any questions that you've got during the meeting. Obviously, if we don't get to one of your questions, then you can give us a call here at the office. We're happy to answer them for you one-on-one. So let's get started. So I don't know if you know that Norton came up with a new antivirus mask. I love this. I mean, you gotta smile. This is funny. I don't care who you are. Some people have decided they're going back to work. So this is what they look like on the way back to work. So Jake from State Farm, what are you wearing? About a hazmat suit. I don't know if anybody's fans of Pawn Stars here, but this is great. I love this. This is the best I can do, $69,000 for the toilet paper, water, and hand sanitizer. So when you work at a bank and two guys with masks come in, but they're just robbing the place. Oh my gosh. My favorite. Here you go. This is my favorite. Chuck Norris has been exposed to the coronavirus. It was just a matter of time before Chuck was exposed. The virus is now in quarantine for the next 14 days. That is beautiful. I think that is awesome. You got to love that. All right, let's start with some good news. I'm trying to add perspective for folks, and every single day we are seeing on the headlines, here's how many people have died today. Here's the new death count. It's quite the morbid fascination with how many people have died today or yesterday or over the course of the past day or two. So we're actually tracking a different statistic. As of today, over 500,000 people, 526,770 and counting, have officially recovered from the coronavirus. There's a website called World Meters where you can actually track this. And it's showing us since Monday. I actually had a slide ready to go. I put the slides together on Monday and then updated them on Tuesday. From Tuesday to today, there have been 90,000 additional people that have recovered. Among them, in Oregon, a World War II veteran, Bill celebrated his 104th birthday this week after recently making a recovery from coronavirus. So this is Grandpa, great-grandpa, and he is a great-great-grandpa. So UK Boris Johnson leaves hospital after a personal COVID battle. This was all over the headlines. So I love this. Our compliance department makes us state the sources. So where did you get this information from on UK Boris Johnson? And I was like, it's every headline right now. It's kind of a big deal. Some good news, a 102-year-old woman recovers from COVID-19 after a 20-day hospital stay in Italy. University of Pittsburgh, I shared this last work. Scientists believe they found a potential coronavirus vaccine. I don't know if anybody saw this, Melbourne, Australia. Jack Dorsey, co-founder and CEO of Square, pledged $1 billion to fight the coronavirus. Not sure if that's how that money is going to be spent. I think it would probably be as valuable if he just started a new business and put $1 billion into hiring people with 25 million people currently out of work. But New York Post, you won't see this very often in New York. They are saying thank you to the Patriots. New England delivered 300,000 masks to New York City. So there's definitely some good headlines that are out there. You do have to look a little bit for them, or you can come here for our weekly dose of perspective. But we've had a lot of talks about the bell curve. I've talked about the bell curve. You've seen the bell curve on TV. We've talked about without protective measures on the bell curve and with protective measures. There's a pretty neat thing that we're seeing right now is new cases. You'll notice have started to, it looks like they may have hit their peak. We're starting to level off or flatten off on the bell curve. So that's another piece of good news. I love this article. This is something that was posted. This is a picture of my mom last night. She's in her 60s. She caught the coronavirus a couple weeks ago off of a patient. She couldn't get out of bed for a week, but got through it. She is now back at work, working 12 to 14-hour night shifts in the New York hospital system. She is the one on the right. She's looking after people with coronavirus. She didn't have to go back to work, and she could have stayed out on sick leave, but she told me who is going to look after them all if I don't. So what a legend. So a big thank you. We need to send out a big thank you to those people on the front lines who are dealing with the coronavirus, who are dealing with people who are coming in, healthcare professionals. We have a lot of them as clients, and we definitely want to be grateful to have them on the front lines and people like her that are getting back to work and making her family, her friends, and her entire nation proud. So some other good news, summer boosts people's spirits, and there's some evidence that high temperatures and high humidity reduce the transmission. We are one step closer to summer. I say that with kind of tongue in cheek because I actually had to scrape the ice off of my windshield this morning before I came into work. So past couple mornings, but summer will be back. Rest assured, summer's coming back. So piece of good news. I am proud to be an advisor and a business owner. We talked a little bit last week. Dyson, after receiving a call from the UK Prime Minister, James Dyson, got on the course to making new ventilators, and so they've committed to that. There are companies that have been known to thrive during recessions and times of depression and that is the alcohol companies, where people tend to drink a bit more. But Georgia Distillery dispensing hand sanitizer. We've got Bill Gates is spending billions to save months on a coronavirus vaccine. And of course, we've got the big lies. I talk about, you always hear it's kind of a catchphrase, the fake media. I don't know where you stand on fake media. I don't care if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm independent. And quite frankly, here's the thing that I'm trying to get across to people. It is perspective, perspective, perspective. So there is a lot of stuff in the media. One of the biggest things that I see all the time is that you got to pay attention. Tune in every day. Tune in every day. Why? Why do you need to tune in every day? Coronavirus live updates, tweets, and everything else. You know, watching the daily death toll, which is out of our control, really leaves people feeling depressed, powerless, hopeless. It is an uncontrollable. We choose to look at how many people are recovered. So there's over 500,000 people that have recovered. I've talked to you often about the controllables and the uncontrollables. The death toll is one of those things that's an uncontrollable. And I had this bucket as red behind me. On the screen, I've got it as black because it's a black bucket that leads to a black hole. And if you know what a black hole is something that steals all of the light out of the sky, out of the solar system, out of the room, out of your life. It's a black hole. We cannot focus on the things that we cannot control. Instead, we have to focus on the things that we can control. And what are some of the things that we can control? We talked about this last week, about having an attitude of gratitude, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But What are some of the things that we can control versus the things that we can't control? We cannot control the media and what's going on. We cannot control the stock market and what's going on in the market. I have a client that has asked a question, sent me an email on a question. Hopefully they're on and watching. But one of the questions was, okay, so I've been watching the markets every day and watching my account every day, and it's not performing exactly like the Dow Jones is. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because your portfolio is not comprised of 30 stocks, which make up the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's not even made up of the S&P 500, which is only stocks. Our portfolios incorporate bonds, stocks, it could be ETFs, mutual funds. We've got REITs, treasuries. There's a whole mix of different asset classes that we're using inside of the portfolio. It's not going to track what the Dow or the S&P is actually doing on a daily basis, and thank goodness, because for the majority of my clients, we're not taking that kind of risk in your portfolios. So if you want to get into the details, just give me a call, and for the person that asked that question, I'm going to reach out to you after this call or early tomorrow, and we'll talk a little bit about your account and the fact that it's doing pretty well. So I'm very pleased with that. Now, that is not something that is a controllable for us, though. And when you think in terms of the markets and you think in terms of your plan or your strategy or your investing, too often people are looking at a daily, and quite frankly, that's what the news media is trying to get you to do. Hey, look at the market, look at the market, look at the market, look at what's going on today, look at the death count, look at the death count. Hey, look at all the bad things, because fear is a huge tool for them generating viewers. Heck, I think there's even a show that one of the news channels put on called Markets in Turmoil. And every day they have an hour show on markets in turmoil. They actually titled their show that. I mean, quite frankly, you don't have to watch the show to understand what it is they're trying to peddle in their message. Now, the reality for us is our plan is not a one-day plan, a 5-day plan, a 1-week plan. Our plan is a long-term plan. And if you are planning long-term, the daily fluctuations don't matter as much because you have a much different vantage point. So the market volatility is not your volatility. Quite frankly, you don't need to watch it. That's what I'm doing. So we're making the moves and adjustments as is necessary. So don't focus on the things that you can't control. Focus on the things that you can control. Perspective is one of the things that we can control. So we've battled viruses before. We've talked about this. I talked about how we had someone that criticized me that said I was taking it too lightly. We are not. Every life is valuable. Every casualty is a tragedy. But quite frankly, we have to have perspective over panic. We have been through these before. 1918, 20 million Americans lost. Sports teams canceled. SARS, bird flu, swine flu, MERS, Ebola, Zika. We've seen these things before, but let's put it in perspective. So I continue to use these slides each week, but this is our coronavirus as of right now. Here is the coronavirus numbers. This is updated today. This is how many people have passed in 2020 from the coronavirus. And here's how many people have passed from influenza or pneumonia in the United States. It's important to keep things in perspective. Number of virus cases per 100,000 of population. Ours is 172 is what they're reporting. Now, why do I say this is what they're reporting? So this is my perspective. You may have your own perspectives. I have mine. So I was talking to a client. We have a client whose daughter is sick. The daughter has all the symptoms of the coronavirus. And it's an adult daughter that is staying with her right now. And she shows all of the symptoms of the coronavirus. Her mom also lives with her, and of course, her mom got sick and has all of the symptoms of the coronavirus. So they called their doctor. What should we do? Do we need to come in? Do we need to get tested? And the doctor said, no, stay at home. Stay in quarantine. Don't go anywhere. Just stay at home. They have not tested for the coronavirus. They show all of the symptoms, yet the doctor said, stay at home. If things get worse, then call us back and we may have you come in. So that leads to a very obvious question. The question would be, how many people have been told to stay home? How many people might actually have the coronavirus that haven't been tested? So when we're looking at numbers or statistics like this, I keep in mind, I think the number is way larger. Now, that's just my opinion. I'm just a lowly financial advisor in Lancaster, Ohio. I'm not a CDC specialist or a doctor. We have lots of doctors as clients, but excuse me, I've had this conversation, and it seems to me that if we're telling people to stay home and not testing them, we don't really know the true numbers. I think that the numbers are much higher. I think that the rates of people that are passing from this is much lower than probably what's being reported. Currently, though, what's being reported is the mortality is around 7 people per 100,000. 96% of people that get the virus survive. And I believe in my heart that that number is way, way, way larger. Corona mortality rates 3.94. I'm guessing it to be much, much lower than that. That's just my opinion. But during these times, it's not only important to protect your health, it's also important to protect your money. With that, I'd like to introduce one of the newest members of our team. His name is Nathan Schwab. So about, well, it was the beginning of the year, and I actually hired a headhunting firm, and we gave him some very specific direction. We said, okay, we want to find an advisor, somebody who is a planner, a financial planner. We want them to have certain licenses. We'd like for them to have a CFP or be a certified financial planner. I'd like somebody with at least a minimum of 7 to 8 years in the industry. We're after someone who would fit with our team. We want someone that scores a 7.733 or close to that on the Colby. We wanted above average IQ. So we had a whole plethora of criteria that we gave to this headhunting firm. And quite frankly, I was like, I don't know if this person even exists. Well, as it turns out, the person does exist. So we got a call from the headhunting firm, and they said, we've got a couple candidates for you. And they gave us a list of names and some resumes, and they had done their interviewing and testing. And we looked through the different test scores, and we narrowed down to a couple people, but one stood out. And so we actually interviewed that person. His name is Nathan Schwab. Nathan comes to us with about 12 years of experience in the industry. He's got his Series 6, 63, 65, his Series 7. He is a certified financial planner. He's also got an accredited wealth management advisor certification. He got his BA in finance from Liberty University and then went back to Bryant University, Boston Institute of Finance for his CFP. He's married. He has 2 children. His career started in Colorado. So he was in, I believe he was in Denver, Colorado for a while and worked for US Bank and then worked for Charles Schwab. They same last name, but they spell them differently. So no relation to Charlie Schwab. Nathan, when they had their first child, moved back home, which is originally from the Canal Winchester area, to be closer to family and to be closer to his parents. So his parents are actually in the Canal Winchester area, and that was when he had his 7-year-old daughter. So he's been back in Ohio for a little over 7 years. Took a job with US Bank as a wealth planner and advisor, and then went to work for a firm in Dublin. Was there for about 1.5 years, and we actually stole him from that firm. So we're very pleased to have him. He's been with us for about 1 month. And let me see if I can do this. And not sure I can, but Nathan, if you can open your video. I'm not able to do that for some reason. I don't know if you can. I was going to let him say hi himself, but for whatever reason, I can't seem to get him on here. It's all right. Let me just do it this way then. Here's a picture of Nathan. So what I encourage you to do is call, when you call into the office, he is part of the skeleton crew that's working. So it's Nicole, Nathan, and I. He's been with us for about a month. He's doing a great job, and he's very knowledgeable. He brings a lot of experience and a great spirit to the team. His honesty, integrity, his principles is what kind of set him apart from the rest. We are very happy to have him on our team and to be part of our organization. So when you call in, please say hi. He will be talking to many of you, as he'll be working as a service advisor here. He'll be working on your accounts, working with you on the planning, paraplanning, as well as trading and account management. So we're happy to have him, and we want you to call and wish him congratulations and welcome him to the team. He's heard a lot about all of you, so he's probably already heard of you before you call in, but we're happy to have him on the team. So in looking at what goes on in the market, so what goes up must come down, what goes down will go back up. This is all about timing in the market. So I've talked about this before with different outbreaks: SARS, the bird flu, MERS, Ebola, Zika. The markets did have declines, but then the markets afterwards went up as well. So as long as you have a good long-term plan, then we're not going to be focused on all of the negative that we're seeing in the marketplace right now. One of the things to keep in mind, I've talked about this a lot, and I want to talk about this a little bit again. So one of the things that is going on is we've got a lot of fear and a lot of media that's talking about the coronavirus, and death is the biggest concern right now. We're going to start to see these numbers. We already are starting to see them taper off, and we're going to see the top of our bell curve probably within the next week or two. Then it's going to start declining. I think the president today is going to be talking about opening up different parts of the economy to get things back on track. So I want to go ahead and prepare you for this, because we've talked about this. We are going to go into a recession. When the government stops business and says, don't go to work, don't pay your mortgage, get on unemployment, there are going to be consequences of those actions. So now the key to remember is that when we start to see these jobless numbers and these claims numbers, today I think it was over 5 million jobless claims, we shouldn't be surprised. We've told people not to work. So here's my perspective, and I'm just giving you my perspective. We've talked about, okay, well, we're going to have 8 weeks of the Paycheck Protection Program, and we're going to have stimulus, we're giving you 8 weeks worth. Now, here's an interesting fact. They approved $350 billion for the payroll protection plan. As of today, they've already went through that, and only about 5% of small businesses have actually got access to the money. This is very important because I have business clients. I have clients that are business owners, and we've talked to them. I've had personal conversations with all of them. We had Kelly on 2 weeks ago talking about how we're going to apply for these small business loans and how to keep the payroll stuff going. And we've worked with our folks, but I've also been on conference calls with other advisors, with other business owners as part of mastermind groups. I was on one this morning for about an hour and a half, and not everybody has a team that has helped them, even them, to apply for these loans. They've kind of been meandering. They weren't sure what to do. So it's very important to move quickly when these things are happening. So I'm very fortunate that we have Kelly and Tim involved with our clients. I'm very fortunate to have clients I've been able to have conversations with about this. If there are people that you know that are small business owners and they did not get in on the first round of the PPP, then they're going to have to make sure they're on the ball. There is projection that they're going back to the Senate and Congress and asking for another $250 billion for the SBA Paycheck Protection Program. If that gets through, they need to be at the front of the line. They need to be getting a hold of their bank or their institution. So let them know that they're not dead in the water yet, but they are going to have to move quickly. So the early bird gets the worm, so to speak, on that. Anyway, kind of to bring it back, one of the things that we're thinking a lot about here is that once we get on the downside of the curve, and even once we get all the way to the bottom of the curve, the media is not going to change, guys. They're still going to be pushing the fear factor. So fear is no longer a factor for you, but keep in mind, here's what the next headlines are going to read. And this is not a controllable thing for you, but the headlines are going to read this: the world will never be the same. The economy in ruins. Will we ever recover? The markets may never go back up. One of the things about a recession is that our markets tend to be volatile and trade fairly flat during that period of time. So initially people were calling for a V-shaped recovery. I've told you that I think it's going to be more of a U-shaped, where it's going to go and then kind of be volatile for a while and then come back up. Now the key question is, everybody wants to know, well, when will that happen? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not concerned about it, because my plan is not a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, a 1 year plan. My plan for our clients is over the long term. And in the long term, we know it's going to come back up, and we know we've positioned properly for it. So I'm not concerned, and you should not be concerned. Now, I've also had a question that came in: are you taking new clients? Currently, I'm not. We are not taking new clients right now. Unfortunately, our main objective is to make sure that our clients are taken care of. That doesn't mean I'm not offering perspective for people, or not offering some advice, or not. I'm not going to say that I won't help people as we move on through. But as of right now, right this minute, no, we're not bringing on new clients. Now is not the right time to do that. We're not marketing. We're not trying to bring on new clients. I've encouraged people to share these videos to try to add perspective. We've gotten a couple emails and a couple calls, and I've said our process is called the Wealth with Clarity process, and we'll be happy to take you through it when we're on the other side of this. For the time being, hold tight with where you are, have conversations with your current advisors. I got a report that one person said, well, they're not returning my phone calls. I think it was Buffett that said, you figure out who's swimming naked when the tide goes out. I understand that, but our main obligation is to the people that are working with us right now, and to be trying to bring on and create new plans right now would be a disservice to those of you who are clients that are watching and staying up to date. Doesn't mean we won't work with your friends or with family. It just means that we aren't taking new folks right this minute. I hope that's okay with you. Now, as we come through and we get on the other side of this and on this recovery, we will be opening up conversations to have with others, and that would be a time, if you want to introduce someone to us, that's fine, you can do that. Some of the headlines that are coming: will the world ever recover? Michael Burry of The Big Short slams virus lockdowns and tweet storm. Investor who also has an MD says the economic costs of the pandemic response are too high. Really, once again, this is something that's out of our control. So when I start to think about it, okay, well, we've closed down the economy, everything, we shouldn't have done it. These aren't things that are in my control. They're not in your control. So it's not something that you should be losing sleep or spending a lot of time thinking about. Positioning is very important. Perspective is very important. What are the things that you can do to keep you and your family safe? And where's the daily dose of perspective that you can get? Well, you can get them right here every week. Same bat time, same bat channel, Thursdays at 4 o'clock. We're going to continue to do market updates and weekly perspective all the way through April. We're also making them available for you to download off of our website, and you should be getting emails after the fact. You can share these, like I said, with anybody that you want. I encourage you to do so. But as we move forward, a couple things to keep in mind. Some things in life have changed. I love this. I don't have any notes for this. I just think this is beautiful. This is, these are the toilet paper hoarders right here. This is me after washing my hands for 20 seconds, 57 times in one day. This is beautiful. I saw this. I thought this was wonderful. Jonathan, if you know Jonathan here in the office, huge sports fan. Day 2 without sports. Found a young lady sitting on my couch yesterday. Apparently, she's my wife. She seems nice. I love that. The originator of social distancing, Wilson. Some things never change. And then one day, just like that, coronavirus just up and disappeared, just like Ebola did. So this will be us someday in the not too distant future. Forrest Gump. In the meantime, continue to have prayers. Continue to say prayers for those who are being affected. Remember, fear is contagious, but so is faith, hope, and love. I got home. This was beautiful. I got home after last week's webinar. So I walked through the door, and when I walked through the door at the house, I realized very quickly that Danielle had listened to the webinar because this was waiting on our counter. It says attitude of gratitude. And she dug, I don't know where she got this from, but she dug this out. The next day I got home, it had faith, love, and happiness. Each day when I get home, it's a different message. This was, I got home the other day, it was raining, and she said, no rain, no rainbow. I thought, wow, how awesome is that? So every summer has a winter, every winter also must give way to summer. So no rain, no rainbow. She's adding perspective for me every day, and she has an attitude of gratitude, and it really helps me to have an attitude of gratitude. Another thing that I'm very grateful for is the fact that she's keeping the kids busy every day. We've got them outside. Here's Danica on an art project. Here's Cooper. These were photos she sent me today, a couple hours ago. So I'm always saying, hey, what'd you guys do today? What was the best thing from today? So here's Cooper working on a broken, or a tree where the top half had broke out of it. Here's a great picture. Danica finished her art project. I think that just turned out awesome. What a great thing to do. There's Cooper after having accomplished his goal of becoming a lumberjack. So I've got an artist and a lumberjack on my team at home, and Danielle's keeping them busy. She sent me a couple others of things that they're doing. So when I think about what's the best thing from my day, the best things for me have been the cards that I've received from you guys. It's the calls, it's the emails thanking us for the webinars. So I really appreciate that. I share them with our team. Our team appreciates you. Our attitude of gratitude is we have a lot of gratitude for having you as our clients, and we're happy to be presenting these updates. I'm very pleased I get to talk to you guys each week. I think of our clients, we've been able to reach out to most of them. You should have received an email, a letter, invitations to our webinar. We're trying to over communicate during this time because quite frankly, this is when we're at our best. This is kind of when we shine, is when things are, volatility like this is happening, that we're staying on top of things. We're doing some tax moves. We're reaching out to you guys when we've got different moves that we're trying to implement and things like that. So continue to expect calls and emails and communication from us. We're going to be doing these webinars every Thursday at 4. Send them off to somebody that needs a dose of perspective, somebody that might not have the best or the most positive attitude. Be a leader. Lead by example. Sow the seeds of hope and spray down the weeds of despair. Limit your input. I was talking last week to someone. They said, "Oh, I'm watching the news every day," and they said that the average rate of TV watching right now is averaging for a household, per household, is over 8 hours a day. And I said, "What are you watching?" And I had someone that I was talking to that just said the news was playing 24/7 behind them, and they were very depressed. And I said, I wonder why. You know, turn it off. Read a book. You control the inputs to your life. So find those around you with great attitudes that are positive. Allow them to provide you with perspective and insights and input. And those that have the negative, push that off to the side. You don't need that. So with that, we want to encourage you to continue to give us feedback on what you liked about the webinars, even things that you don't. I consider it constructive criticism. If you have questions, send us the questions ahead of time. We can answer them during the webinar. If anybody has questions, there's a little button on your screen. You can raise your hand. I can unmute you. You can even ask questions during this time, and I'm happy to answer them live. But I just want you all to know we're very thankful to have you as our clients. We appreciate the trust and the faith you put in us. We're working very hard to make sure that you're taken care of, and we're watching things very closely so that you don't have to. So with that, I want to encourage you to stay safe, stay smart, and stay positive as we continue through this pandemic, because this too shall give way, and this too shall come to an end. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and you guys are going to be just fine. We're prepared, you're prepared, and we're here for you. If you need us, call us. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to talk to you and look forward to hearing from you. Let us know how we did. You can email us, call, or even email Nicole. Anybody that wants information about our firm, we are not currently taking clients, but you can pass on some of the resources. We've got our 6 most dangerous pitfalls. They can go to our website, download all of our different webinars for some perspective and some information on the small business stuff. So with that, we want to wish you God bless, stay safe, stay strong, stay positive, have an attitude of gratitude, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care.